Sit your own stuff up, man. Life is action. Some more classes after today. Y'all got the finals coming up. So after today, there's one more class. That's the final. What is it? Y'all must wait for me. Because what I'm gonna do. Oh, but I want to get it now. I want to go. I'm really good, right? So, right. So I was like, yeah, one more class. I might just like to come.
Whatever.
Yeah. I was wondering.
That was cool.
So she could have
You put the story, but you didn't wear it.
I'm not submitting mine.
I think we're all here who's gonna be here.
Yeah.
I've got messages. One that said they can't see here, and then another one that had a death in the family.
I didn't know that.
You know about that.
You better also get the
Did you just submit it?
His little brother died.
Yeah, well, I had finished the academic one. Like,
Did you copy the document?
We have a little routine.
No, go ahead. I'm here on y'all. So I'm all good.
He asked for so much.
I'm just like.
Good morning.
Good evening. Good afternoon.
Good evening, or whatever. Questions? Is there any hope that we can get systems to change? Or is it always a game of wait and see? What do you think? Based on what we've learned this semester, what would you say?
I'd say that one of our roles as school psychs and teachers and anybody in the field of education has the ability to advocate for change and not just wait and see, but try to be the change.
All right,
Thank you.
it's our job.
Responsibility.
That too, yes, that's an even better word. For our individual student report to class, do we email it to you or have to present it? We're gonna both. I do want you to present it next week when we're here. Just, no? Well, you won't be here. Our young lady in the corner over here is says she would like to spend a couple weeks in the hospital, so. What?
Just like an hour.
Oh, an hour, then you come home? Okay. You wanna tell us what's happening? Is that right?
They're just cutting my throat open, no big deal.
Oh, I've been there.
How many of you have had your tonsils out? 1, 2, me, that's it? Good grief, when I was a kid, you did that or you didn't do anything. I mean, that was rule.
I've had stuff cut out of my neck, but not my tonsils.
Really?
Yeah, couple cysts.
Oh, boy.
Within a year of each other too.
Okay. Well, I lost my tonsils and my adenoids, whatever they are, at the same time. Okay, well, I have no unanswered questions at this time, this person says. Can we have access to the final study guide sooner than midterm? Yes, it'll be available to you within the next 2 days. Do you think Tennessee will adopt the reading practice that Mississippi is using? What do you think?
Probably not.
Probably not, right. Are we to turn in paper copy of our case study with our kid or email it to you? Is the particular way you would like to chart the data, is there a particular way you'd like to chart the data? No, you can, you can email it, but it needs to be a paper copy. I need to be able to copy it on a report. But you can email the report as an attachment. That make sense? Okay. question is something I have here. I'm not gonna hand it out now, but I have it. Comes from Emma. And she asked it 2 weeks ago. Can you provide us the research or books about how removing special ed dropped numbers who needed services? Now, that was my story about Pennsylvania and how we changed Pennsylvania. And the number of kids in special ed dropped like a rock, but the amount of achievement increased. It was called IST, Instructional Research Team, Instructional Support Team, is what it was called, IST. And there were 4 major articles that were published in major journals about the success of that program. And I've made copies for everyone. So before we're finished this evening, you'll get a copy of that information. Are there any questions about the process of the next week and the end that I haven't answered? Okay then. It's now time for a special treat. I met Terry Davis through my wife. It was kind of a unique introduction. You know what the learning lunch is. He came to one by invitation, and he happened to sit at the same table as my wife. And he was telling her about some of the problems that they were having at a given school that he and some others had volunteered to help the kids. This was a school in the less productive area of town. And she said, my wife said to him, was there any way that I could help? And I'll never forget the answer. What are you doing next Thursday? That's the right answer. And she said nothing. So be there at the school. And that started a relationship that has really been productive in all kinds of ways. So I'm going to let him tell his story. First, I would like for you to tell your story about growing up in Chattanooga. The subject that they've read about is the school to prison pipeline. So you can relate to that as you move through to the end, but end up your story with what you're doing now and what you're accomplishing and what you advise and what you think schools should be doing that they're not doing. It's all yours, and we look forward to what you have to say.
Okay.
Terry Davis. Wait a minute. Before we do that, I want him to know who all of you are. So name and where are you from?
I'm Selena Thomas, and I am from Nashville, but I've been here 6 years.
I'm McKinley, and I'm originally from Wisconsin.
She's a Yankee.
I'm Olivia, and I'm from Rome, Georgia.
Wrong choice, okay.
I'm Allie, I'm from
I'm Lauren, and I'm from Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, all right.
I'm Alex, I'm from here.
Chattanooga.
Eva, and I'm from Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
I'm Amanda, I'm from Houston.
From Houston?
Hickson.
Oh, Hickson, sorry, okay. Wow, man, that's a unique background. Can I use this chair?
Yeah.
I get a little comfy. Y'all don't mind if I sit down?
You want a taller chair, you can sit in a taller one.
Let me see here. See, I kind of feel like this because I want to be like I'm sitting with us. Y'all like that? Yeah.
Okay.
There's something about the hierarchy. We all together. Well, anyway, I'm gonna start. Sometimes I get excited, so I might talk fast. I talk country, but that was one of my, believe it or not, one of my insecurities as a kid. I would never talk in class because it was just the way I pronounced. But now people know me by my voice. It's crazy. Like, oh, there go Mr. Terry. Just how I use that tool. So it's just crazy how it was. But I'm gonna start. I'm actually from Chattanooga, Tennessee, born and raised in Eastlake Housing Project. I'm not know if y'all familiar, off the 4th Avenue coming around the bridge, cause the red housing projects over there that's kind of fenced in. So that was my beginnings early in life. Before the fence was there, it wasn't the fence. There early in our childhood, but just over the time with the it's the poverty and a lot of gangs, when I say the government or the city had the idea to put the gates around, which as a kid, I thought it was to keep the criminals out. Well, as I got older, it was really to keep some of the gangs and stuff. When the police came in, they couldn't run to escape or whatever the police wanted to do. So I was like, wow. So our whole community was gated in, as I got older. So and it was interesting. As a kid, when you there, I didn't look at it too tough because a lot of my friends, all of us was in the same situation. So I didn't understand poverty or poor. It was like we were poor, but everybody poor. You walk to school. Some of us, moms or dad might have a little bit more, but most of us had the, the same, sad story, no welfare, refrigerator, no food sometimes, and all that. So I don't want to get too deep in that. But as I got older, I remember just walking to 23rd Street. It was our school, Oak Grove and East Side, about a mile away. So from walking from East Lake, 4th Avenue, all the way to East Side, I remember right when you get off the freeway on 4th Avenue, I just remember as a kid, I was like 6, 7 years old, and I remember these homeless people used to live like in the woods, like literally in the woods with the clothes up. And I was like, I used to walk by there every day, and I was like, wow, man. I mean, I thought we had it bad, but I was like, these people are actually living there. So as a kid, none of my friends, it's like nobody else really, they saw them, but they never connected with it. So years don't went by, Craig, I walked by, I said, man, one day, I'm in pain, but I gotta help somebody like that, because I feel if they let them, whoever they was at the time, let them be like that could be me. So I just remember that just resonated with me 6, 7 years old. I remember just going to work we had like a little flea market up there. You can go work on the weekends, make $4 or $5. I used to remember going to a little restaurant, buy a hot dog or two, and I used to, as a kid, take it over to the woods and feed them. Now, we on welfare, they have no money, but that stuck in my head to help me feel not better about my situation, but it gave me a sense of belonging. So I was like, man, they was like, man, what are you doing with your money? Everybody else going to buy candy and all. I said, no, we want to feed the homeless. So my friends, they was like, so I kind of stood out. So I just had to sometimes sneak and do it because it wasn't cool. I was like, but after a while, as they, I started being around the jobs of basketball people, it was kind of cool. Like, Terry, I'm going to help the homeless in the wood. Like, this was before junior high school, before high school. So, with that being said, I connected with the purpose. And I'm gonna go back to the beginning, but that's what led me kind of to where I'm is. Now that stuck with me. And just, I remember just the time, like I said, my mom, I had a strict mom. Like I had to go to school. Went to school and I was excited about school. I wasn't as smart as, some of my friends, but I knew the one thing I had advantage over. I learned how to read. And I was like, that kept me cool because when it was time to read out loud, all the bullies or the people who was making fun of me, most of them couldn't read. And I was like, oh, so when it was time to read out loud, I just made sure I could spell and read. So that kind of kept me, not per se getting bullied, but it kind of kept me like in an even keel with everybody. But I didn't realize that was going to save my life when I look back at it. Now I was like, wow, because I wasn't even in the comprehension part. It was just like, I can read. Like, okay, I'm cool. I ain't got new clothes on. I ain't the nicest looking kid, but I'll tell you, I can read, So now, as I'm getting in high school, junior high, I played sports. So that helped me to deal with a lot of the poverty. It helped me just kind of belong. A lot of coaches, I was very athletic. So that kept them wanting me to be around. Like, Terry, we see something in you, but I didn't believe because after they go there, I had to go back to like this poverty place with gangs and seeing my mom, getting abused at night, going to school, trying to focus on the teacher talking about Christopher Columbus, but I'm thinking of, oh, man, my mom was getting beat up last night. When I go back home, is she gonna be all right? This is kids, but you can't go tell. Well, we have no counselors, and you don't go tell the teacher because I didn't want my mom to like get in trouble. I don't know how it works. I'm like, if you call the police on mom, they're gonna take her to jail. So it was just those emotions, and nobody never asked what was going on. I remember there was times there were kids, they would like touch me or hit me, and I would just blank out because I saw the person who was hitting my mom, so I was just like attack him, but I was the quietest kid, so there was, Terry, go to the office, go sit there. So I'd be sitting in the office right there, just mad like this. I remember, they were like, oh, that's the quiet kid. They never said, hey, what's wrong, what's going on? I was almost wanting them to say it, I don't know if I would have told her or not, but they was like, I just sit down, oh, he don't touch nobody. I'm thinking all this time, man. So they'll just send me back to class, so here I go again, just holding all these emotions, these like years, I'm talking about like maybe 7 years old, almost up to high school. I think my last fight, it wasn't even a fight, it was just somebody touching me, because it just triggered my mom. It was like, I'm gonna defend myself. If I can't get my mom to defend, so I think 9th grade was like the last time, and I remember just walking out to school, like I just blank out. I was just like, I do whatever. I was just outside, just walking around, just mad, didn't know what to say, couldn't talk to nobody, and I just come back in, and they was just like, "We gonna call your parents?" Well, that's Terry, be the quiet kid. I'm dealing with all this pain, hurt, whatever, resentment, abuse, mental abuse, and I'm like, man. So with all that being said, I'm skipping a lot, but I want to go to where I guess where I saw the pivot in my life is when I had like a scholarship for like a sports like scholarship for baseball. And I was gonna go to Austin Peay. But maybe that same week, it was a Navy recruiter came and say, me and my friend, we downtown trying to catch the bus back home. He's like, hey, what y'all doing? Y'all want to go to Dave? We like, what's Dave? I don't know what that is. He said, I'll buy y'all some Wendy's hamburgers. Like back then, to get Wendy's hamburger was like, oh yeah, we'll go. So I remember him, we sat and had a meeting with him. He showed me these pictures of like the world, these beautiful countries that I couldn't even pronounce. And I was saying, you see it on TV, but like, I was like, man, I think I'm gonna do that. So I, told my family, I was like, I'm going to Dave. I don't know what that means, but I saw these countries and I wanted to see something different from that poverty. I just wanted to just get away from all that. So with that being said, I was signed up. Me and my partner, we was gonna go on a buddy program. You can go with your best friend, so the experience would be easier. He ended up couldn't go, so I had to go by myself. So first time going to Chicago, I went up there in September in shorts from Chattanooga, got off the plane. It was, I promise, the snow had to be like a foot or two, and I was like, what have I got myself into? I'm in boot camp. First day, they just throwing garbage cans, yelling, and I'm thinking like, hold up, man, can I go back home? I mean, people crying and everything. So once I asked them, I said, man, can they hit you? Like, because I'm thinking, I remember the military, feel like they hit you back there, but they say they can't hit you no more. I'm like, really? So they can't hit me. I'm cool. So, I was athletic. I could fit in. So anyway, I made it through boot camp, but I thought I was going to get the GI Bill, do my little 3-4 years, come back home. In between that, it was a war. It was a Desert Storm. So as soon as I graduated, 18 years old, about 6 months later, they said, you going to a war? I'm like, war? Like, who fighting? Like, I ain't know nothing about no war. I was like, a war. So being 18, leaving for Virginia at the boot camp, going to Kuwait, like, to another war zone. So I'm looking like, man, I just left. My whole point was getting from that was to get away from the world. And I went to where they shooting real missiles, like actively. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but in a weird way, mentally, I was already equipped to it. It's not to kill people, but the pain of just being uncomfortable. So, but with that, it was a blessing because I was able to go, see countries, went to Spain, Italy, France, Greece. Then the most amazing one was when they said we was going to stop in Israel. And I was like, because we was raised in church, and I remember just, John 3:16, all this stuff. And wow, I'm like, hold up. I said, Israel is in the Holy Lands. So when I figured out we was going to Israel, it did something too. And I was like, man, Israel, I remember reading certain parts about it in the Bible. So going over there, seeing a lot of the tombs and, whatever people believe, but what Jesus walked, that was definitely an experience. And seeing it now, I'm more triggered. Now, when I see it on TV, because I see that, man, I'm lucky to be alive and seeing the stuff going on, Palestine, just knowing I was in that area. But the other parts I was blessed to see how others live in every country, because every country I went to, our mother friends, you know, neighbors, they known for drinking, sellers, and cussing. Every time we got off the ship, I went down to the, I ain't gonna say the poorest neighborhood, but I went down to where the people at. I get out the cab, and I was like, they were like, American, American, you know, it was like poor people. I just used to give all my money to the kids, they run up, and it was like Egypt or whatever. They didn't have no money. I was like, so it's poverty really all around where it was just weird. Every country, except for Italy now. I didn't really see a lot in Italy. I was like, that was probably the only Greece. Italy, I didn't see the poverty that I seen in a lot of like Spain, a lot of the other countries. But even, you know, Saudi Arabia, I always went down to the village to talk to the people. So I'll be the youngest dude, and I'll be down with these dignitaries, like people. I just wanted to hear other people's stories. So that's what made me real intrigued. Like, man, we really all the same to a degree, because most of them, believe it or not, they just want to take care of their family. You know, whatever religion you believe, they just love, you know, whatever God they believe, but they're family. Now you got radicals on every side, but most of them, they're just great people. And I was like, so now I'm gonna kind of come full circle. So when I come back to the United States, you know, I did 2 tours, and I really started looking at things like really different, like really how great. I'm like, man, that poverty don't look as bad when you know, when we stopped in Sudan, 2 African countries, and really seen that poverty. I was like, wow. So it really, like, no, you really had it good. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's like more perspective. So, and that's what made me like, man, I really gotta give back. So I remember, I'm skilled, but I remember still working at a mental health hospital, Park Ridge Valley. I don't know if y'all heard it, but it was with foster kids. And I was like, I was working 3rd shift. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, yeah, I need a part-time job. I was at Chattanooga State. I said, yeah, I need a part-time job. So I said, foster kids, 3rd shift, yeah. So in a way, I didn't realize Tennessee had one of the biggest foster care systems, what it is, and seeing these kids trying to cut themselves, abuse, some of the worst stuff you can ever read. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, that's me. Like, I was really, they thought I was the adult, but I was learning through them, because we'll do groups like this, and they'll be telling their story. I'm sitting here like, sometimes, you know, I had to turn my face and like this, because I was crying, because I'm like, we didn't have this, like, these emotions you can really talk about, you know, abuse or neglect or whatever disorder they try to put on you. So as a grown man, it really took me, it was hard at first, but then I was like, I was learning through them. I'm like, man, I'm up here helping them, but they was really helping me. Some of the pain, because everybody, oh, that's Mr. Terry, he can do everything. And I'm like, they don't know. As I get out work clock and when I'm leaving, I'm thinking about depression, on the, God forbid, like kill myself, the hopeless. But when I'm in the class with them, I was filling them up, and I'm like, you can't even do this for yourself. So that conflict with myself, you know, I did that for like 15 years. Like, I just left maybe 4 years ago. And with that, that's when I was like, even before that, about 10 years ago, I went to go visit Salvation Army at East Lake Courts, where I was raised. I was like, let me go see who down there, because I remember they used to give us out free food and different case. I went to talk to the director, and I went there on Bojangles Chicken. I remember like just it was like 15 kids, most of them African American. They were just, you know, man, I was like, they was all just looking at me. I had a box of chicken. I was just thinking, I was like, hey Steve, you know his name. I said, they don't give out free lunch, you know, like food and something. It was in summertime. He said, no. Because that's what they gave us, free lunch. It was this truck used to come around, I think, daily in our neighborhood in the summertime. Because school went in, they kind of helped with the food. And he said, nah, they stopped that. I was like, what? So I said, hold up, man. I had $10 in my pocket. I said, I'm going to go down to the Dollar General store. I got 2 boxes of pancake mix. It's a syrup. I said, man, I got the grill at home. I'm going to come back. Because I'm on my mom. Sometimes we didn't have food, but pancakes, she always somehow got a box of pancakes. I was like, we get pancakes. And I went back and just started. I said, man, I'm going to cook for these kids, man. And that's where it started, man. It was so grateful. I was like, you know what? I got to get my friends at Park Ridge. I know social workers, psychiatrists, and I was like, hey, man, I'm going to start this thing at Salvation Army. I call it Camp Role Model. I want to bring in positive people I want to feed. And it started like a 3-day camp. I remember just going off of Depot, people out telling people what I'm doing. Hey, yo, we'll help you, it's free. I didn't know I emailed the news people. I didn't know what I was doing. I just emailed anybody. Oh, yo, we'll do an interview. Like, interview. I'm being on Channel 3. I rehearsed this long speech like I was finna say it. I got on there and froze. And I thought you could stop it. I'm like, hey, can you stop it? Like, no, you gotta keep going. I'm like, so I hadn't looked at, and that's been like really 15 years. I got that video and I'm gonna save it, cause I don't came a long way. And I would never look at what Channel 3 News is on trends. And I remember I'm like, one day I'm gonna be able to show people public speaking was my thing. So it was just crazy full circle that's where it started at Salvation Army. I did this camp role model, judges, anybody that I knew, I said, hey man, can y'all come 3 days and just talk to the kids? And that's what really got me to like, man, I just gotta do it. What are my friends coming out? Some of them, you know how people say they won't come, and I show up, it'd be me just like this with my backpack. And I had to do it. That used to hurt me. I'm like, man, y'all told me y'all gonna show up, man. Like, these for kids, it ain't for me. I was gonna pay for everything. So that's when I realized that's your dream. That's not their purpose. So even today, same thing. And I'm gonna fast forward. That's when I got invited to the Learning Lunch. A lot of people knew me in the city, kind of more social justice at the building I met. So we was just doing community stuff. But when I got invited to the Learning Lunch, and I was very uncomfortable because it felt to me predominant, very good speaking people. That's that perception in my head. So I don't think I said nothing for the first two. I was just at the table. I would tell anybody else, hey, I'm not going up there. I'm not saying nothing. So over the time, and meet Dr. Priscilla, and they came over to Woodmore with me, like she said, on that Thursday. And I used to do a program that I did it for Perfect Teens. I said, man, if kids would just at least get to school, you'll be safe and you might learn something on accident. So I used to host a quarterly, pizza, ice cream, what the best. I knew the kids will remember that. So that's where it started. Let me do this Perfect Teen quarterly. Man, the kids, the attendance went up. The kids was excited. I used to, bring in whoever wanted to come, and that's when it was like, man, we can really do something. So I don't really know, and you might remind me, I don't know how we got to the reading part, and I don't know what the discussion, but I remember we started the incremental reading in that program.
Incremental rehearsal.
I'm saying it wrong. But it was amazing, like to see those kids really couldn't read a sentence, like, I'm talking about 4 or 5 words. I can't remember grade, but 2nd or 3rd grade, but it was like, and we slowly did that with students like y'all, and we really saw them, the kids' behavior change, the other teachers in other classes, hey, can we get the kids in there? And that goes back to, I think the question we were saying is I forgot how you said it, was is the system changing, and that's when I realized, and we realized, it was like, man, do they really? And one principal did tell me, he said, Terry, that we get more money if the kids fail. I was like, he really told me, and I was like, because they get the, I guess, I didn't even say power, what's the word, when you're when you're not on levels, they trying to get you to some relay, they just pump more money into the schools, and I was like, so you almost get more money if you're doing bad. He was like, yeah. I was like, man. So that hurt to know that we did that, but it made me understand the system. So I'm like, okay. Then the corona came up, and that kind of slowed everything down. But with that being said, I said, Terry, I got to build people who want to do it and start just being around and not trying to get my friends, not feeling that guilt and like that. So that's where I'm at now. And in between that, just coming up with my own curriculums and writing it how I see it. Because I said one day I'm gonna get in a room to where it'll be not easy sell, but I'll be able. And I know grants. And I seen a lot of my friends with nonprofits. They were depending on grants, and when the money left, they lost some good programs. And I see those guys now. And I run a nonprofit called St. Andrews in Highland Park. And I remember I had got no grant money because I said, man, I take the grant money. And then they shut everything down. I want to be just like them. So with that being said, all of that experience and knowledge of doing it myself, it has me in a position to really build out my own programs. I have a small school in Africa where I bought some property and the kids was on a dirty floor. I got a room and we built it up to where they now got mats and they got a little chalkboard, and now Rwanda is in Rwanda. The the government found out what I was doing, cause I was doing it out of my pocket, and I just knew a guy who I was sponsoring. And now they're gonna build another nursery, and I just bought more property over there to have them getting out, and all they got is like a real chalkboard, and it's like 20 kids in one little room. It was the saddest thing in my life. So anyway, with that, I get to write my own programs now for schools, and everything I've learned, all those trials and tribulations got me to like, you know what? I just write it myself, you know. I just find somebody who I can active with, cause I really see they learn your ideas, but the action part, it start getting lost, and there's a lot of meetings. And I don't like just talk about the meeting we did. It's like, come on, man, I gotta see these people. I gotta go back to this neighborhood and see these kids and these moms or in prison talking to these kids when they juvenile, when they go to prison, almost losing their whole life. And I said, I gotta look at them. I said, I can't just be having meetings, being to sound good and look good on paper, like, man. And I don't know where to start, cause it is a lot of variables. So when I look at it now, I was like, man, I'm really lucky, like, that I go through all that to get here. But I don't know. So I'm gonna end with that. I know I kind of went on a rampage.